Here, take it. I'll light a candle as an offering." My husband carelessly threw over a nickel. I was so tired of him that I couldn't bring myself to do anything. "Since your mother never did anything to help us, 5 cents for the candle I'm lighting for her is enough, don't you think? You made me worry, so I got home quickly, but it was just that your mother had died? What a hassle. I'm busy now, too." Saying such things about my mother, David was being too cruel. My mind was blank, and I just stared down at the floor. "If you have enough free time to organize this funeral, why don't you clean the house more? You've really been slacking off these days." "If you really think so, you could help out a bit." "What? Housework is for women. Don't talk back to me when you're so useless." My husband said that and quickly began gathering his belongings. Without asking where he was going, I stood still, staring at his overweight back. "I was supposed to go on a business trip tomorrow, but I've decided I'll head out today. Bye." With those words, he left the house. As if waiting for this moment, as soon as I heard the front door close, tears welled up in my eyes. "Yeah, 5 cents is enough, huh?" I muttered to myself in a dry voice and took a few steps forward on my unsteady legs. My mom raised me as a single mother. She experienced a lot of hardship, but she never showed that to me. She would always tell me in a bright voice, "Everything will work out." She was someone I respected. I didn't want to leave my mom alone after graduating from high school, so I found myself a job in our neighborhood. It was a challenging job, and I didn't get along with my colleagues, but I was happy that it gave me the money to be able to afford a better life for my mom and I. When I received my first paycheck, I took my mom to a somewhat high-scale restaurant, and whenever I get a bonus, I would take her on a weekend trip somewhere. I was single for a while and wasn't interested in romance, but since I didn't really want to get married, I wasn't stressed out about it. I thought to myself that living with my mom like this forever wouldn't be too bad. But then something happened. "Hey, Sienna, what will you do about getting married?" "Why are you asking out of nowhere? I am still in my 20s, so I haven't thought much about it." "You can't think like that. When I was your age, you married Dad, right? You've said this to me before." Usually, this type of conversation would end once my mom brings up my deceased dad, but this day was different. My mom stopped what she was doing and looked up at the ceiling with a lonely and sad look on her face. "Sometimes I worry about how you'll be alone after I die." When she said that, it felt like my heart froze. It's not that I haven't thought about it before. Especially recently, I have been noticing how her hair has become whiter than before, and have thought to myself that she has definitely gotten older. I looked over at my mom. 5 years ago, she didn't have such wrinkles around her eyes. "Sienna, think about getting married, okay? I'm getting so worried about you that I won't be able to join your father in heaven." "Don't say things like that." Hearing my mom say that, I felt like crying. So that she wouldn't see me, I left the living room to make myself tea. Wiping the tears in my eyes, I turned on the kettle. As I was waiting for the water to boil, I took out my phone and opened up a dating site some of my friends use. The homepage said 90% of its users are satisfied and had many promises that I will meet the man of my dreams. The background of the site showed the happily newlywed couple. My mom will probably be relieved if I get married. I didn't really care about marriage, but I wanted to make my mom happy. That same day, I made a profile on that dating site. Shortly after signing up, I met David. David worked as a manager at a company that makes medical equipment. Although he was a bit chubby, He looked like he took care of himself. He spoke professionally, and since he was interested in me, things between us progressed quickly. We met each other's parents and got married after dating for a year. I remember the day I moved out of my mom's house like it was yesterday. My mom stood at the front door, watching me drag out my huge suitcases. "You haven't forgotten anything? We already checked yesterday, didn't we? After we get our house together, come visit." "What are you saying? I'll leave you two alone for a while." As I was leaving, she grabbed my hand. She pulled me in for a hug, and with a kind voice said, "Thank you, Sienna." "Mom." "Come on, get going now. David is waiting, isn't he?" My mom smiled brightly, and I left her home. It was hard for me to leave. I knew that I shouldn't overreact, since it was not like I was saying goodbye to my mom forever. But it finally hit me that I was leaving my mom alone. Will I be able to enjoy my married life like this? Concerned, I headed over to my new home. But unexpectedly, I enjoyed my life with David a lot. We would watch movies together late at night, cook together on the weekends. Honestly, there were even moments where I forgot about my mom. But that happy life came to an end after 4 months. "Thanks for the meal. I'm heading to bed now." "I get that you're tired, but I'd like it if you could at least help me clear the table. You promised that if I cooked, you'd wash the dishes, right?" "Isn't it mean of you to force me to do that when I'm so exhausted from work?" "Even though I also work full-time, I make sure to cook every night." I wanted to say that, but my words got stuck in my throat. I remembered how scarily my husband reacted the last time I spoke against him. I stood silently, and David disappeared into our bedroom with a big yawn. He probably is really busy at work. He leaves for work earlier than me and gets back home later. He's told me that before the end of every quarter, he has to desperately bring in customers, so it should be okay once things at work calm down. Once he relaxes, the old him will return, and we'll be back to our happy married life. My heart felt tight in my chest. At that moment, my phone went off. It was a text from my mom. "Sienna, how are you? Are you getting along well with David?" "I'm doing well. Recently, I've been getting a bit short of breath, so I plan on exercising more." Honestly, I wanted to go to my mom for advice, but I also didn't want to make my mom worry after she was so happy about me getting married. I pushed away my worries and sent her a happy message. 6 months later, on a Saturday morning, my phone's ringtone woke me up. I assumed David was on a business trip somewhere since he wasn't at home. Still not fully awake, I picked up the phone. "Hello?" "Sienna?" "Grandpa? What happened?" "Calm down and listen to me. Your mom passed away." At first, I couldn't understand what my grandpa was saying. "Mom died?" I couldn't believe it. Feeling shell-shocked, I quickly changed my clothes and headed to the hospital. As I stood next to my mom's hospital bed, I looked down at her and felt like she would stand up any moment. Not fully accepting that she had passed away yet, I listened to the doctor's explanation. As my grandpa was handling the paperwork, I called David. "What? I'm working right now." "Mom died. There's a lot I need to do now." "Huh? That's it?" Hearing David's angry tone of voice, I felt my breath stop. What is he saying? "Can you go home now?" "I'm hanging up. Bye." The sound of the call being hung up burned in my ears. When I got home, David was already there. His suit jacket was thrown across the sofa, and crumpled fast food wrappers were thrown around the floor. "Welcome back. You're late, huh? I came back home earlier for you." I didn't have the energy to reply to what he said. Looking away from him, I began to speak. Mom's funeral and wake will be tomorrow and the day after, so please take time off work. "Why? I have a business trip tomorrow, so there's no way." "No way?" Maybe I'll just light a candle for her or something." David furrowed his brow while looking into his wallet. "Thinking about it, when we got married, your mother didn't help at all with paying for the ceremony." "Well, Mom didn't have that much money, and she had to worry about her own living expenses." "I don't care. Since your mother never did anything to help us, 5 cents for the candle I'm lighting for her is enough. Here, take it." My husband carelessly threw over a nickel. I was so tired of him that I couldn't bring myself to do anything. Saying such things about my mother, David was being too cruel. My mind was blank, and I just stared down at the floor. "If you have enough free time to organize this funeral, why don't you clean the house more? You've really been slacking off these days." "If you really think so, you could help out a bit." "What? Housework is for women." "Don't talk back to me like that. You're just useless." My husband said that and quickly began gathering his belongings. Without asking where he was going, I stood still and stared at his chunky back. "I was supposed to go on a business trip tomorrow, but I've decided I'll head out today. Bye." With those words, he left the house. As if waiting for this moment, as soon as I heard the front door close, tears welled up in my eyes. On the day of the funeral, many relatives asked me where my husband was. I couldn't bring myself to say the truth, so all I said was, "On a business trip." I wanted to properly send off my mom, so I was very busy. When my mom was placed in her coffin, she wore more makeup than she ever did when she was alive. It seems that seeing her that made up finally made me realize the reality of her passing. Looking at her face, I felt it getting harder and harder for me to breathe. I decided to step outside for some fresh air, and bumped into someone. "Excuse me." "No. Sienna. It's been a while. Do you remember me?" This soft-mannered man was a distant relative I had met once, a long time ago. We stepped outside. He sipped on a can of coffee and spoke to me about his work. "I work for Kenko. It's a company that makes medical equipment." "Oh, my husband also works there." "Really? Smith. You're married to David Smith?" My relative had a grim expression on his face, and he looked down in thought. Wondering why he would make a face like that, I waited for him to speak. "Actually, David currently took bereavement leave." "What? He's supposed to be on a business trip." "We haven't been sent on any business trips in a few months now. It's not our busy season after all." Hearing what my relative said, I was stunned. So David was fooling me the whole time? I called David, and he picked up the phone with a sluggish voice. I put the call on speakerphone so that my relative could listen in as well. "What? Didn't I tell you I'm on a business trip?" "David, what are you doing?" "I need to go now. A client is calling. Bye." David hung up the phone, and I turned to look at my relative. He nodded at me, and I made up my mind. I won't forgive him. I need to make him pay for this. The next few days, I was full of rage. With the help of my relative, I learned all about what David has been doing the past 6 months. He would take bereavement leave or say that my health is bad in order to take days off or leave work early. That's how I understood he was having an affair. His lover must be the woman who was with him on the day of my mom's funeral. My relative got to processing David's dismissal from their company and let me know when David was officially laid off. I got to preparing divorce papers and to packing my stuff to move back home. Luckily, David had lied that he was on a week-long business trip, so everything went super smoothly. When I moved out of the house, all I left behind were the divorce papers for him to sign, his dismissal notice, and his nickel. I don't think he even deserved those 5 cents. After locking the front door, I dropped my key into the postbox and went back to my childhood home. Not long after, I got a call from David. "What you doing? Why would you say something silly like that to my company?" He was furious, but his words were quick and clear. I didn't get caught up in his anger. I was calm and I replied, "Something silly? What could you be talking about?" "You know what I'm talking about. You even printed out my dismissal notice." "Are you trying to make fun of me? I will sue you." "Go ahead. I have the receipts from your trip to Love Make Hotel." I heard David take in a sharp breath. I continued, "And the receipts from the cafe you took her to, and for the makeup you bought her. If you sue me, you're going to be the one in trouble in the end." Understanding that he can't win, David spoke in a tight voice. "My bad." "What?" "I won't sue you. I will sign the divorce papers. So, forgive me." I wanted to curse him out, but seeing a photo of my mom on the wall, I stopped myself. It was a photo my mom and I took together on my 20th birthday. She had a dazzling smile. Though I can't talk to her anymore, I know what she would think. I can't forgive David, but I want to act in a way that would make my mom proud. I gave David a curt reply and hung up the phone. "Lucky! Momo! Catch!" I threw a dog toy across the park. Our 2 puppies chased after their toy quickly, and my boyfriend and I watched them with a smile. I met my boyfriend when taking Lucky out on a walk. He was out walking his puppy, Momo, and we got along well as fellow dog owners. I first got Lucky because I felt lonely living in my childhood home alone. But thanks to him, I had a TV drama-like encounter with my boyfriend. Even now, I find it incredible. Maybe this was a gift from my mom who is watching over me. I've heard that David's company sued him for his bad attitude and his many mistakes at work. He tried to run away from it until the very end, claiming that I had lied about his affair. How rotten could he be? I don't think I'll ever meet David again, but I'm sure he's getting payback for what he's done. I'm grateful. Next week is the anniversary of my mom's passing. My boyfriend told me he wants to join me when I go to visit her grave. I plan on buying her a bouquet of her favorite flowers and introducing her to him. I've been through a lot, but I've overcome that, all thanks to my mom. Everything will work out. You were right. I'm happy now. So, don't worry about me, and rest well.